Yes, guys, welcome back to the EOSwriter.io weekly news video. So today we have a special guest on. A lot of us know him already. We've got Dallas Rushing on the call for the video. How you doing, Dallas? Had a good day?
Good, man. How you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Dude, I'm very well. It's horrible weather here in the UK, so you said it was horrible where you are as well.
A little rainy, but I'm actually a fan, man. I like the overcast days, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's a good excuse to sit in and just talk about cryptocurrency, isn't it? Um, Talk about
We're
EOS.
taking advantage of that for sure.
All right, well, let's whiz through it. Anyway, let's crack on. So, first news story we're going to start with, guys, is EOS Rex is now live. Obviously, most people in the EOS community already know that Rex is live. There's like a million videos online, tutorials, you name it. You know, we've all done videos, but let's talk about it because it's a big deal. The recurring kind of like dividend you're getting from it is about 1% at the moment, so it's not massive at the moment. But you know, moving on to the future, this is a really good system, and I think it's actually made the cost for a DApp 99.9% cheaper. That's what EOS New York said on one of their Medium posts. But like, it's good to see it live, man. We've been waiting for this for a long time, haven't we, Dallas? Like, what do you think? Are you excited?
Yeah, I think I think it's exciting, right? I mean, I think that was one of the few areas where there was definitely some need for addressing on EOS to try to make it cheaper, and that's the real value proposition on EOS is making an environment that's awesome for developers so they can develop cool stuff. So I think this helps that for sure to bring down costs.
Do you think you'll use it for your DApp? Because there's a bit of a lag on this, but
Yeah, I think we will. There was the recent I can't think of the name right now, but there was a recent upgrade which should allow dApps to hopefully for all transactions, if need be, move it so that the DApp can actually pay CPU and net for the users instead of the users having to have some for themselves. Because currently, I mean, we had to mask an issue like that by working with we're working with CPU Emergency, and they're providing EOS CPU for people whenever they run out. But yeah, if we're able to implement that newer update in the contract where we can pay the CPU, and then yeah, if it's just a matter of if the rates stay around where they are in Rex, I mean, it's super cheap definitely to run the CPU needed to cover.
Yeah, man. I think it's Liquid Apps, isn't it? Liquid Apps are coming out with the solutions, but it just goes to show, like, EOS can implement change this quickly, right? Ethereum's been trying to scale for years and years and years, right? EOS, okay, the Rex did take a little bit longer than we all thought, but now we've got it. It's there forever. It's done. It's all the code's gone through. For DApp developers, it's so much cheaper. It's just for me, validating EOS is kind of use case for like that middle ground, like that really malleable, fast network, which is going to have most of the biggest dApps, just like your DApp. Karma. You can mention Karma as well. You just did your 2.0 update, and that's doing like 4,000 users a day. Did you say? I think it is daily active users.
So that's technically weekly users, but daily is like pretty, not far off of that.
It's not bad. Sure. It's not bad. Okay, sweet. So that's the Rex. We're moving on to the next thing. So, this week, WordProof actually made history on the EOS blockchain. They time-stamped everything EOS, and the EOS.io, which are, EOSwriter.io websites have actually been time-stamped on the EOS blockchain. And just a little bit of knowledge about WordProof. So, Sebastian van der Lans is the founder. The business before he came out of WordPress. He says in an interview I did with him, actually, he's a open source nerd, and he works in the WordPress community. But now he's building WordProof. Yeah, it's quite funny. And now he's building WordProof. I don't know how much you know about it, Dallas, but like it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Yeah, utilizing that. I mean, that's kind of what everyone envisions with EOS, right? Is that it can be the new internet where we can host and build websites. So it makes sense having the kind of tool he wants to make for it, but usable for blockchain for sure. I'd like to see somebody make also like the time machine sites you can go to where you can like look at how Facebook used to look in like '03 or whatever, how they the internet. I would like to see something like that on blockchain. That way we can have a verifiable like that the photos are real. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Because like say like news stories, for instance, like they always stay on the internet. Like we know anything which goes on the internet stays on the internet, right? But it'd be quite good to have like a validated system where you can go back and see like this was verified, time-stamped by this company at this time, and it could kind of change history forever. Because like they say history is written by the victor. All the most of the stuff in history is a lie because it's just written by one side of the fence. This could completely change that, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it definitely has the potential to change that. I think it's exciting to see how it works. I mean, obviously that's where we want to move. I mean, I think we just need, there's a few things we need in place, right? If EOS will be the new internet, we need like a browser, we need all these different things. But yeah, I mean, it's getting close, right? It feels like it, at least, where you see like the first website fully on EOS. That'll be an EOS account name, it will be the actual domain for the site, and the token and the contract address. They could just it'll just be really cool to see all these things finally fully intertwined and usable. Dude,
it's so exciting, man. EOS is kicking off, bro. It's gonna be the whole decentralized internet. But yeah. So next thing I just want to talk about the EOS. Everything EOS development courses, right? And I just want to put a spotlight on this because I really want to support these guys because it's Peter Kay's the technical lead, obviously Rob Finch and Zach Gull, the guys behind it. But this is mental, guys. You can literally go on this. You can go on their site. You can get free development courses. All you've got to do is either vote for Cypherclass, or you don't have to vote for Cypherclass. You can actually do another way you can do it as well. But they're not forcing you to vote for Cypherclass, basically. But you can get free courses, and it's just like another step onboarding users. Like I don't really know that. I don't see this in many other chains, to be honest. Like I see like a little bit of it happening in Ethereum, obviously development courses, but when it comes to Tron, IOST, that kind of stuff, we're not seeing any community kind of driven stuff like this. But it's really exciting, man. Like, do you think you're gonna use them, Dallas, for your devs and stuff in your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool, man. Why not? I mean, I think at least for down the road, maybe I think it could be perfect. Like if we set up kind of like processes or systems like that, looking to to create new developers, teach them what they need to know, and then see if they can work on a project like Karma or these other projects in the EOS community. I think it's super needed. I'm still learning a lot of things on the development side of things, and that's one thing I noticed for sure was looking around. Like there's not I guess it's not as top of mind for people as where they can go to get high quality courses to learn this stuff quick. And so I think this helps that out for sure a lot.
Yeah, man. It's definitely like, it's just the EOS community is so inclusive. It's just bringing everyone on board. And like at the end of the day, users is great, right? Users is fine, but devs is really the most important thing, because if you've got no one building on it on the network, then you're not going to have anything for users to use in the first place, right? So that more than anyone because you're actually building a dApp yourself. But yeah, so moving on to the next topic. So let's talk about PixEOS. So this is big news, right? So PixEOS just recently did a trailer. They're actually going to launch 15 new games onto the EOS platform over the next year or so. And the token is now live. I think Dallas actually told me this, right? It's live today or yesterday, I think it is. And yeah, you can trade your tokens. If you've held a significant amount of PixEOS, the rewards have been great. Now you can go and buy more, sell them, whatever you want to do, and it's now a really good opportunity to either invest or do whatever you want to do with the tokens. But yeah, I don't know. Like you're quite close with Fred, aren't you? You're doing something with them, aren't you? Karma is maybe doing something with PixEOS. You were telling me something, Dallas.
Yeah, so Karma partnered with PixEOS early on, and there's some really cool things I think that we definitely want to do together as time goes on. I mean, they just have so many great artists in the community for PixEOS. And so I think there's so many areas to collaborate, whether it's, like designs inside the app, maybe create custom, Karma emojis inside the app, inside of our discovery page. Maybe we'll have some of the PixEOS games and or some of the cool things that they create. But I think overall, it's just a fun project that is really cool, and they have a great community, and so it would be an awesome addition to something like Karma, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you had the Karma app and you had the games integrated and like everyone working together, but that's kind of like there isn't that much news at the minute. Obviously, we're here now, but let's talk about Karma anyway, dude, because you've just done your 2.0 update. I'll put something on the screen now showing what it looks like. It's pretty swish, man. I'm not gonna lie. New wallet, new this, new that. Everything's flying off the shelf. So just do a little explainer, like what's the new update all about? What are the new features, bro?
Yeah. So it's basically, I mean, a complete UI overhaul, which is, basically UI, for those who don't know, it's everything that you see on the app. It's the user interface. It's what the user sees and experiences. So everything's new. The feed looks new. There's just all these, different little tiny details that you don't notice, like shading and colors and sizes and stuff like that I think really improve the app. But just basically all the processes, have a facelift. The wallet's brand new. So I think it's just a great upgrade and facelift to the original, to sort of what the different versions of 1.0 that we had. And this is like a really great version that we're going to continue to build off of, keeping, some of the core elements in place, and then adding, a lot of the other things that we plan to do, or that, the community wants, version 2.0 and beyond.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Like, if you guys want to get it, it's on the Google Play Store. It's now on the iOS Store as well. I just did my update today, and it's pretty cool, guys. I was saying, I think I was saying something in one of my Telegram groups. The rewards are, for staking Karma is about 2.6% a month at the minute. And actually, Dallas had to correct me because I thought it was 2.6% a year, and I was comparing it to the REC. So it's literally it's like 20 times more returns at the minute than the REC. So you're getting 2.6% a month just for staking. It's awesome, Dallas. Like, have you anything else to say about it?
No, I mean, I think that's gonna, there's gonna be a lot of things that continue to add on top, right? I think like there's certain things we want to add, like being able to delegate your Karma power, inside the app to other people, and all these different things, which will make it really fun, and continue to add to the utility and the value that comes from having Karma and then powering it up or staking it. But yeah, I mean, that was like you mentioned, that was like the math, kind of based on current numbers of Karma that is powered up. And yeah, I mean, I think when you compare that across, like you said, things like Rex are, it's obviously, superior, but obviously you're dealing with two different tokens, whether it's Karma versus EOS, and, those rates are calculated in terms of how much more EOS or more Karma you will receive, right? So just a lot of factors that play with it, but yeah, I think it's great. I think it's definitely I think it's much better than if you look across the space and, even non-EOS tokens, things that offer, that have staking rewards like Komodo or Dash. I think it's very competitive compared with those.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, it's just like the whole general thing with social media is like you're seeing so much stuff in the news today, like fake news, hate speech, all this kind of stuff. Like anything to try and take away from like all this hate on social media and actually move towards something like Karma, which is like rewarding people for positive stuff. And like you said, you're going to have two different tabs now, one for like kind of more like charity related stuff for Karma, and then more like lifestyle stuff. So there's going to be two different categories, which I thought was going to be really cool because it means that you can actually post directly for different things because you don't want to get the lines muddled up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just like that. What's going to make it different is it's about what you put an emphasis on and a spotlight on, right? In some ways. So, you go on to Instagram or Facebook, and there's really a couple goals in mind. It's like, how do we maximize the number of ads that this person's going to watch? And, how do we show them things based on kind of what we've shown them in the past that are going to trigger behaviors that are going to make them feel more physically needing to stay on the platform, right? So they don't necessarily have the user's best interest in mind. And it's really scary. Yeah, like you said, what we've seen with, where people just get removed because they have a different political opinion. It's not somebody who is posting something, that's illegal or inappropriate, or just, or is doing something horrific that's like damaging the platform. It's not getting, removed for those things, which those are, just because something's decentralized doesn't mean a user can't get removed, right? There's still rules that a community should, or, it's like America in a lot of ways. Right? In America, in a lot of ways, the promise of America is that you got freedom, but there's still laws, right? I mean, you're not free to murder me, So
Yeah. Yeah.
so there's a fine line there, and what we're seeing now is, these platforms remove people because they just have a different opinion or they vote different, and that's really problematic to have such a dominant ability to do that, and that really can shift what the the country and world thinks about issues.
Yeah, and then you got like Julian Assad at the moment, who's like, it's like there's so much stuff which is kind of showing that, because obviously social media is such a big deal now. Last 10 years it wasn't, maybe 10 years ago it wasn't such a big deal because not everybody was on social media, but now social media is like your voice online, and it's a big deal. Everyone's online now. Well, not everyone, but most people in the Western world are. So like, it's going to be so much more, even more like important that there aren't ways to be censored for your actual, just your point of view and your freedom of speech. Because that's like in America, right? Like, say you say something which the government don't like, and they turn off your bank account. Or Julian Assange for a second, that's a whole different kettle of fish, like, to go down, the whole Julian Assange thing. But in a way, he's kind of like,
that's a great point, man. I mean,
it's like, what's going on? Like, the guy, he's exposed something which the government, it is bad what the government have done, right? But it's obviously it's theft, because if you did, it's difficult, man. And I hope karma can have like a better.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a few like really interesting like quotes or perspectives I've heard recently. Like one of them, what they say is, there's like a high level of corruption going on when just saying the truth becomes treason. And
Exactly.
if you're just honest, if all he did was what any other journalist with like a 3-letter acronym for their company does, is they get information, they verify it, and if it's not illegal and it's true, then they put it out. And that's what a guy like that did. But it's just scary. Again, it's just scary when these giant outlets are used for clearly biased reasons by people for personal agendas, and not for the greater good.
It uncovers the corruption.
Yeah, and they say in a lot of ways, like if you want to know who's in control, just see who you're not allowed to say bad things about.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
That's happening right now. Even if you look on Twitter, there's people getting banned for making parody accounts, right? When they say it's a parody in the bio and in the name, and it's just like
it's crazy. It's crazy.
And then you look deeper, and so it's scary, man. And those are the kind of things that people, I think, are sick of and want to not have, right? I mean, should a user be removed if they post, an ISIS video or something like an animal getting hurt? Like, totally, right? I mean, that you shouldn't be. Some of that stuff is horrific that people post. But if you just have a difference of thought, then we should talk it out. And if I want to stop your ability to talk, then that shows I'm more scared of the discussion than I am of you being, not telling the truth, so it's scary.
It's like governance in general is like moving on to social media, and that's why Karma is such a great idea, because you can have governance within the platform, and it's built on EOS, which has its own governance mechanism as well. But like you said a second ago, it's like WikiLeaks, right? It's the government's happy to allow Julian Assange to say something which is benefiting the government, say like Donald Trump, when all of those emails were leaked about what's her name again? I don't remember her name. The other Parliament, the contender. What was her name? Hillary, right? Hillary Clinton, yeah. So when all those emails were leaked about Hillary Clinton, why can't I speak right now, bro? Hillary
when those emails were leaked.
Yeah. Remember? Yeah. Thanks, mate, for finishing up for me. Remember when the emails were leaked? It was like Donald Trump was like, "I love WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks." Da 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 da. And it's like all fine. But then as soon as WikiLeaks actually exposes something which is bad about the government, then it's not fine, apparently. Oh, you can't go and the reason they're trying to do him in for basically computer theft. So it's like he went into someone else's computer which wasn't his, and they're trying to do him in for theft, basically, saying that you're not and breaking in. But he broke in and it was theft when it was Hillary Clinton. So like, it just goes to show that the government, especially America and the UK, and actually everywhere else, is just there's so much shit going on, bro.
Well, when that went down, just to add my 2 cents on that, so Julian Assange obviously initially caused the havoc amongst the community, or like at least the intelligence communities, when, those videos leaked of like military stuff going on in the US, that was like sort of the initial reason why, people in the government and the military were hot and like we're trying to call him a criminal and stuff like that. Then he kind of went into hiding. And then obviously, with that stuff leaking, so I guess like kind of what they're trying to try him for now is not that, it's the older stuff that happened when like Obama.
Yeah, they're trying to extradite him, aren't they?
Yeah. And yeah, it's disappointing. Yeah, man, I think Trump's in a weird position on those two things, because he, it's kind of like there's just so many difference of opinions of how people feel about this. So I think he kind of has to remain Switzerland and not give a public opinion, because it's just inevitable that both sides of the media are going to kind of jump one way or another. Either way, I'm for truth, man. If someone's telling the truth and not breaking the law, then I'm for that, so.
Exactly, yeah. That's how it has to be, man. Like, because it's like, the rabbit hole goes so far, because it's like, if you're prosecuted for telling the truth, then it's like, what is the world? Like, it means that the people in power can tell you to say what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say, and that's just like completely against the whole point of democracy. Basically, the whole point of having a government, we're supposed to own the government, right? And then if we're not allowed to say things which harm the government, what the hell? It's like, it's not a government anymore. It's more like it's more like communism. the whole paradigm's flipped around. But yeah, man, it's really,
people are scared of discussion, man. It's okay if you disagree with somebody, but that's why it's great, because if like you and I disagree, we should be able to talk about it on a YouTube video and let the people watching decide who presented a better case for it, and then truth should prevail. You shouldn't be able to just prevent somebody from talking or speaking, and that's crazy.
Just shut them off, like boom. But yeah, man, like how long have we been going for? So that was a good little talk. Is there anything else which you're like, what else are you, because there's a lot of news going on, like what else are you
the burn happened on EOS.
Oh yeah, that's it. Carry on.
Yeah, that's good. That's exciting. I mean, obviously we didn't see necessarily a corresponding movement in price to that happening, but in this exact moment, but over time I think those things even out, and burns are, I think, a great way to go. They benefit all existing holders. But yeah, we got to figure something out with that, because even now, even though we burn those, that account's now still accruing interest. We haven't, to my understanding, fully removed that extra 4% yet. So yeah, what do you think about that?
I think the Awakenman did a video, actually. Shout out to the Awakenman as well. He's back on YouTube doing this thing. I think he did a video literally today. It's exactly explaining that, saying like, okay, yeah, we've got rid of the 35 million EOS, but now there's another I think it's 1.5 million EOS in the account already. It's like, what the hell? What? You haven't got rid of the inflation. But it's interesting because like a lot of people say that those EOS tokens were harming the price of EOS, but it's like, I don't know. The thing is with it, because they're not liquid, it might actually not have affected the price, because they're still not in the market.
I mean, it actually just makes the market cap bigger.
It makes the market cap bigger, yeah. And also, like, when you look at the amount of tokens staked in EOS, it's like, okay, if it's a staked token, it's kind of out of supply. That's my phone. That's my. I just got in my ears. Yeah. It's 5 o'clock. But yeah, no. Yeah, I love this guy. He's my best mate, my computer. But it's like the staking stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's the more you learn about markets and look at it, right? I mean, there's always like limited liquidity on everything, even though something has $100 billion market cap. There's not $100 billion of liquid cash ready to buy at that price, right? So it's always a shifting thing, and you want to definitely try to reduce. Like it would not be a good thing, right, if all of a sudden that 4% gets released and then just gets sold on the market. Like,
yeah, that would definitely hit the price. Yeah, hurt the price a lot.
Yeah, but like you said, it's catch-22, right? It increases the market cap, but it may, even though it shouldn't, to the eyes of investors, could have a lowering effect on the price, because they're like, oh, there's more being made. But that's a decent thing to talk about, is that inflation in crypto, because people can say whatever they want, whether it's about these different proof of work coins as well, like Bitcoin. But Bitcoin gets more Bitcoin gets made every single day. Bitcoin's going to be inflating for the next 100 years. So that's a reality. That's actually happening.
That's to pay the miners, yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. So even though it does have a fixed supply at 21 million, like some of us may not be alive to see when that becomes fixed. So in our life, in our experiences, Bitcoin's an inflating token as well, right? So all these coins have it to some extent. It's just a matter of who pays it, how much, and where. And some of the proof of work coins have
it depends on if the market prices Bitcoin at 21 million 21 million coins. That's the good thing about Bitcoin to gold, is that at least we know there's only ever going to be 21 million. So you could still technically you could actually price it in already. You could price in the fact that there's going to be there might not even be 21 million, but you can still price it in 21 million. But with gold, for instance, you don't actually know. We could literally like uncover like a huge massive mine of gold, under your house. It might be under your house, Dallas. You never know. So that'd be sweet. But then if that happened, you would definitely the price of gold would go down.
And to that argument, the catch-22 on that is, and you could just fork a crypto, technically too, right? So
to Bitcoin Cash.
That could be like finding another reserve of regular gold. You just fork it, because then some of that value leaves it, but yet it's somewhere else that still has value. I don't know if that's a fair equivalency, but
I think there's definitely a point there. I don't know if it's exactly. I think there's definitely a point there where the forking of a network. The only thing is, right, it's like with forking a network, it's slightly different just because like it is a different cryptocurrency. Okay, it's got the same hard facts like what it is, but it's a different like asset. It will go in a list of a different market. But with gold, it's like if you found gold and it had like a little extra bit of different type of gold next to it, maybe it would kind of be like that. But isn't it interesting?
Fool's gold?
Yeah, fool's gold and real gold.
Yeah, maybe the Satoshi's vision is fool's gold. Hey, I just saw that so Bitcoin. You know what Bitcoin's actual annual inflation rate is right now?
I think it's like, isn't it like 10 Bitcoins per block or something? I don't know. I can't remember. No, that's not. That's way too much.
I'll tell you the percentage, but I believe maybe it was 12 per block. But the percentage right now is between 3.8 and 3.9% per year right now.
That's like normal inflation of most countries at the minute, or more.
Yeah, but I'm saying like even compare that number with, let's say, EOS for example. If we were to get rid of that 4% and EOS was just 1%,
1%,
isn't EOS a more limited supply, predictable amount in terms of just its quantity as like a store of value? Could an argument be made to some capacity that's the case if less are being made each year?
Well, yeah, it's a good point. Like the thing is with EOS, it's slightly different because like store of value has to be something which is kind of expensive to get. So like mining, it's really, really difficult. On Bitcoins, it's proof of work. The thing is with EOS is like it's not as like the chain is 21 nodes, and we know who the nodes are. So in that kind of respect, it's like we kind of, I don't know. For me, it just doesn't feel as like hard, rigid facts. It can be changed a lot, it can be molded. There's lots of governance on top of it. So maybe EOS would be more of a utility token for cash payments, right? For cash. But Bitcoin's quite good because like it is hard to mine. It's really difficult to change the code. You have to hard fork it, all this kind of stuff. And like I think people get a little bit misguided thinking that like Bitcoin needs to be cheap and free to be valuable, because gold isn't cheap and free. And it's, you know what I mean? Like I think most people think, oh, well, it needs to be like this fast transactions. I think actually high transaction fees is good for Bitcoin in some respects, because it prices out a certain type of person or investor. It's interesting, yeah, because like with gold, for instance, like it's valuable because firstly it's rare, and secondly it's valuable because like it's expensive to have it, and it's expensive to hold it, and it's very difficult to move it around. So people buy it and then they hold it for a long time because they're like, oh, I'm not going to go use that tomorrow to buy coffee. It's store of value. Do you know what I mean? So it's used, but yeah, I think it's a huge topic. We could bang on about this for ages, but it's interesting, man.
The only thing I'll add to that, and like you said, that should be its own video in itself, and maybe we can do a follow-up on it, is, I know how big the gold market is now, right? And how much money is being, in a sense, or value is being stored in it across different countries and things like that. But yeah, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, how much gold do you own, right? And where do you store most of your value? It's probably in another crypto or in fiat in your bank account, and that's where you keep your value right now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's also, there's also the elements of, you know, where actual people are actually storing their value, mixed with, just what instruments are they using? I think, and then it's also the collective agreement that this thing has value, right? So I tried to pay my delivery guy yesterday because I didn't have enough pesos on me. I tried to pay him with like a $10 bill US, and he didn't want it.
Yeah, sure.
That's
crazy. Yeah, that's what it is.
And get pesos, but it's like, you know what I mean? But so because we don't mutually agree it has value, then it doesn't. So that's, I think, a factor as much as any of the other things that you listed out fundamentally.
It's massive. It's a massive topic. Like the great thing about gold is like it's so good gold because it can't be printed. That's the main thing, right? And it's a scarce amount, so there's only a certain amount of it in circulation. So it's got a base amount which holds its value. So like if you go back in time to 1970s, the same amount of gold would have bought you the same house today. If you held that gold from 1970 and you bought the house with gold, it'd be the same amount of gold today to buy the same house. The dollar valuation's gone crazy, right? Because the dollars have been printed through the roof. So like there's so many more dollars in circulation now. For that same amount of gold, it's like $1,300, not $30. And then there's going to be a whole catch up of inflation. But yeah, it's an interesting point. Like, where do people store their value? If everyone stored their value in gold, it would be a much more better economy. The problem is, like, with all these fiat currencies floating on the stock market, if everything was priced in gold, there would be no forex because everything's priced in gold. It's a flat, fixed amount. There would be no price for gold. It would just be gold, and then you price everything in gold. So like, it's interesting, man. Like, and I think you're all right. Like EOS, Bitcoin, we still got to discover where they're going to end up. But I think anything which is trying to have the same attributes as gold with the portability of cash is just going to be huge. I think Bitcoin's definitely got that. And then EOS could even be like the micropayment side. Because it's so much stuff coming. Like, it's just, no one really knows, but you can kind of guideline yourself.
Yeah, and it is interesting if you look at the dollar, for example, right? So like a thought experiment, like, so if Bitcoin hit 20,000 tomorrow, would that be a good thing or a bad thing in terms of crypto and people? Like, what do you think? Just simple answer, yeah, no, good or bad thing?
$20,000 per Bitcoin tomorrow, like, it would be, if it did it in 1 second, it'd probably be good for people's purchasing power of people who held Bitcoin.
I mean, let's say that, I don't mean just like in one moment. I mean, if that became the new value.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I think it would be a good thing because it means that there's more people who are prepared to valuate gold at a certain price point. So there's more people in the market, yeah.
So then the question after that I'd ask is 20,000 what?
Exactly, right. This is the question, right? Yeah. And
we're not valuing in, wow, this one Bitcoin is worth 1 ounce of gold. Like, there's not a running price on Bitcoin's equivalency to gold. So yet it's weird that like gold is where we're saying we are storing our value, which, you know, if you look at the numbers, there's so much money obviously that is stored in gold. Clearly it's a huge market.
8 trillion.
But we denominate all these things in US dollars, and yet US dollars have value, even though we disagree, or you and I maybe disagree with the way it's being managed and operated. But the reason why US dollars have value is because there's global demand in the trade of oil and things like that, where people, to buy oil, you have to buy dollars. So there is an active reason to have to buy dollars to then transact and do this thing, right? So I wonder, I should know this off the top of my head, but I wonder what's the comparison of the value of all the gold versus the how much total money is in supply.
Well, there's the interesting thing. Yeah, it's interesting you say that because, like, what I think, right, is that gold is money. Right, gold is what money is, and paper, which is printed by governments, is currency. And there's a difference between money and currency. So the currency we use isn't actually money. It's not money. It's just it's a printed receipt for gold. Because at the end of the day, fiat currency was created to be a weight of gold in the first place. So like when Nixon took us off the gold standard in 1971. Now, basically, it's like you've got a receipt. So every single dollar you have used to be a receipt for gold, but now there's no gold backing it. So the only real value for dollars is the utility of the dollar, because it's easier to move around than gold. So people use dollars and they store their wealth in dollars because you can buy stuff around the world, and also you can give it to your mate for a coffee. Gold doesn't really have that. So that's the kind of, like, that's how I see it. That's currency, and the real money is the gold behind it. And the valuation of gold has been going up because there's more dollars in circulation, because there's been more printed dollars. So it's not how It's
Okay.
basically it's not how valuable gold can get in dollars. It's how undervalued the dollar can get. Because the more dollars it takes to buy the same amount of gold means the less valuable the dollars are. So basically, the more we print and print and print and print means the less value. So if it goes to $1 million for 1 ounce of gold, it means the dollar's getting a lot less valuable, less purchasing power. Because if you still hold the same bit of gold and the purchasing power keeps going up because we print more currency, you might as well have held the gold in the first place. So it's a massive topic. I love talking about it because we had what's that guy from BIOS came on and he was showing us like these gold notes they've got. Like gold is the real money in the end of the day because gold has a fixed supply. If money doesn't have store of value, it's not money. That's the definition. It has to have store of value to be money. So currency isn't money because it hasn't got store of value because it's not a fixed supply because it's a controlled supply, right? But that's what I think. That's my rant.
No, that makes sense, man.
Get it out there.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. This is something I want to continue to do more research on, like the kind of the relationship between currency and value and money and how all these things play. And so I think
it's super interesting, man. You should check out a guy called Mike Maloney. He does like loads of videos on it, and it's so interesting, man. Because like at the end of the day, it was quite funny. I actually did a video on it. But so the Second World War happened, right? And the UK gave loads of gold to the US to buy stuff. So they bought weapons, they bought food, supplies, all that kind of stuff, right? And what happened is the USA after the Second World War had 2/3 of all the gold, the monetary gold in the world. And then the USA, what they did is they're like, okay, we don't want to get rid of this gold because this gold's valuable. What we'll do is we'll give other countries dollars and we'll tell them that this dollar's worth a certain amount of gold in the reserves. But it was quite funny because America basically committed fraud because they gave out more dollars than they actually had gold backing it. And then like France, Europe, the Netherlands, the UK were like, okay, we want our gold back, bro. Like, give us our gold. They're like, oh, dude, we haven't got any gold though. We've given out more dollars than gold. So Nixon took us off the gold standard. And then that was when it was the end of currency because gold is real money. That's why Bitcoin's so important because it's fixed supply. If you have a fixed supply means fixed prices means it means a stable economy. Fixed supply means stable pricing equals stable economy. That's it. All this fiat is gone. I think we'll have a currency crisis in the next 10 years. But I don't know the whole video on that. We could rant on for days. I love talking about it because it's so interesting, like the whole gold debate and then Bitcoin coming in there. It's super interesting, bro. But I'll put the video at the top. You can check it out.
Yeah, for sure. No, I just pulled up his YouTube channel. I'll check it out for sure. We can do another video follow up on that, and we can go deep down the gold rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah, man, it's super interesting. But yeah, guys, I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up. We've been quite a long time, but yeah, Dallas, thanks so much for coming on the show. Like I said, this is the EOSwriter.io. Go and check out Dallas's YouTube channel, of course, and also check out Karma. You can download it in the App Store. But yeah, thanks for coming on, bro.
Man, of course, anytime. Thank you so much for having me on, man, and thank you everybody who's watching this. I appreciate it. You got good videos, man, keeping everybody updated and informed on what's happening. So thanks, man.
Legend, dude. All right, man. Talk to you later. See you guys. Bye.
See you guys.